Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So for this video, I want to talk about the experiences of a targeted individual and why it's connected to also being a chosen one. Now we have to understand that chosen ones wouldn't be targeted individuals if there weren't anything extremely valuable within themselves. Spiritually, we're talking, not in the physical realm, but in the spiritual realm. When people are able to see something extremely beautiful, uniquely beautiful, that just stands out, and the reason why you shine so bright, and people find you interesting and they want to study you because you have something very valuable within yourself. And so the devil and Satan workers, they can see it within you. So let's start to talk about the experiences of a targeted individual. Many of us targeted individuals have been targeted ever since we were little, young kids, because we've always stood out everywhere we went, no matter what, no matter how much we tried. Ever since we were little, we were unaware of the fact why we were being harassed and being put down so much by people. We wondered, well, what makes me so different? We always knew. We also knew that there was something very different about us, the way that we thought, and other people were also able to see that within us. Now let's start. God, when He brought you into this world, many of us have been given spiritual gifts. Now, each one of us, chosen ones, we all carry spiritual gifts with us. And each spiritual gift is meant to help lead this world. We're leaders. We don't follow. We're not fans and supporters of others. We tend to follow our own spiritual inner guides. And so ever since, as a targeted individual, I'm going to get in with my experience and my story about what it really means to be a chosen one and a targeted individual. Now let's begin. So ever since I was little, I was the black sheep of my family. I was raised by narcissistic parents, and so they would always target me to bully me. My whole entire family would go against me and blame me for everything that went wrong in the family. Any tiny mistake that they made, it was always somehow my fault and my responsibility to carry other people's burdens and problems. The main reason was because I was very hypersensitive. I was an empath, so I would absorb all the emotions of my families. And I knew that something wasn't quite right. And I couldn't quite understand what it was, but there was something very toxic and dysfunctional within the family system. And so I always also spoke my mind. I would defend myself whenever there was an injustice or whenever something that I wasn't in agreement with. I would go contrary to the belief system of the family. So that also made me the black sheep, because I wouldn't go along with the family's way of thinking and being and behaving. I would go against it, and I would stay true to the way that I thought about everything. And I knew that something wasn't right, so I wasn't going along with the toxicity within the family. And so that always made me suffer a lot. So being the black sheep, you're always blamed for everything, and they bully you, they treat you really badly. You're deprived from a lot of things just because the family wants to see you as opposition, especially when you're the truth seeker and you can see through everything that's wrong in the family system and you speak up. That's why they try so hard to keep you silenced and to oppress you and to not allow you to have a mind of your own. They're trying so hard to brainwash you with thinking that you're this bad and horrible person and that you're responsible for all the problems within the family. So that's why they try so hard to blame you and make you feel accountable for everything that goes wrong within the family system. Now, that also is connected to being a targeted individual, because you're targeted by your own family members who don't accept you for who you are, and they want to ostracize you and isolate you and make you feel like you don't belong within the family and you're not allowed the same privileges as any other family member in that family unit. So then growing up in that narcissistic household, I always knew that something wasn't right, and I didn't want to play a part of their dysfunction. I always knew this is not okay what's going on in this family. And so then I went on into the educational system. I had to go to school, in elementary school, and I was very talkative, very outspoken, hypersensitive. I always spoke a lot, and I would ask a lot of questions, and I was curious to learn about everything that was presented to me. And I asked questions, well, why do we have to do this, and what does this mean, and what is this for? And the teachers would try to make me ask less and less questions. They would try to judge me because I wanted to learn more, and they were oppressing me for wanting to be curious about life. So then I also was full of a lot of energy, tons of energy. I was just hyper, and I would just have so much energy as a kid and talk a lot and be very sensitive. And so the teachers tried to oppress those spiritual gifts within me. They would tell my parents, your daughter is too sensitive. She needs to change. She's gonna suffer a lot if she continues to be sensitive, and she cries for everything, and that's not okay. She's gonna suffer a lot in her life if she continues to be this way, and we need to work on her sensitivity. And so they tried so hard to suppress my emotions and to try to make me emotionless and to contain my emotions. So I felt so uncomfortable and so embarrassed at the fact that I was a hypersensitive person that felt a lot of emotions and other people's emotions, and I absorbed them as my own. And I didn't understand why I was wired differently than other people. And I always felt like I couldn't relate to other people. Even if I tried to explain myself to them, they still weren't able to understand me. It's because you have so much emotional depth and emotional intelligence that some people aren't capable to have that same capacity that you have to understand another human. So then I went on to that, and I was targeted because of my hypersensitivity. People would laugh at me because I would cry for everything, and it was a problem for the teacher. The teacher would get very irritated and angry at the fact that I would cry and be very sensitive and talkative. So with the talkative thing about me, the teacher tried so hard to silence me, to the point where she one day moved my desk right in front of her desk, near her desk, to try to silence me and keep me from talking. So I learned from an early age to be quiet, to be an introvert, and I was a natural born extrovert, but they tried so hard to keep me from really being my true self. And I always felt that they were always trying to keep me from being something that I wasn't, and it was really messing me up really bad. So I was placed into special education because they somehow thought that I had a learning disability, which I never felt that I truly had a learning disability, because I felt I was very intelligent and I didn't need to be placed in one of those courses. But they wanted to do that because it was in their plan to try to make it feel that I was different and that there was something wrong with me for the way that I was, for having those beautiful spiritual gifts that I had, that God gave me. In fact, they wanted to oppress it and keep me silent from not speaking up from their wrongdoings, because it's very wrong when they try to oppress you to conform to something that it's not you, and it goes against who you truly want to be. So then I went on into elementary, and I would get laughed at and mocked for being different and for standing out. And I never fit in anywhere I would go. I didn't fit in with my family. I didn't fit in with friends. I didn't fit in with just strangers. No one. People would just reject me, and because I was different than them, and they couldn't understand me, so they feared what they don't understand, and they try to protect themselves from stuff that they don't understand in other people. So then I went on to middle school, In middle school, the spiritual warfare intensified. I was targeted there intensely to the point where I was a loner and no one would even take time to hang out with me. I was just alone most of the time. People would mock me, they would reject me. I remember in PE, everyone had to choose their partner for PE, and they left me alone and no one wanted to choose me. They said, "Oh no, we don't want to choose her." Everywhere I would go, they would always target me and make me feel like I didn't belong there and that I didn't have the same rights that they had. I wasn't deserving of respect and the same kindness that everyone else was given. So they strategically, the teachers tried to make me feel bad about myself. And even the teachers would even participate in laughing at me and trying to put me down, especially in high school. Now in high school, I had a teacher who ridiculed me in front of the whole entire classroom, saying that I wasn't going to amount to anything, that I wasn't going to be able to do this and get this far in life because I wasn't as intelligent as everyone else. And the whole entire class just laughed and they were gratified at the fact that I was being ridiculed. And they found it funny because they were already against me. So having the teacher even go against me, it just made everyone even more happier at the fact that now every single person in this classroom is going against just one person. So it was really bad in high school, especially. I was a loner there too. I didn't have any friends, no one that I could relate to, no one that I can ask for help. Everyone would just reject me and they would leave me lonely. And even when I wanted really hard to try to form a deep connection with someone, they would never take the time to actually know me as a person. So they judged me intensely and criticized me. And I was continuously showing these people that I was loyal and that I truly cared about them and that I wanted to be their friend. But everything that I was giving to them, I was always given nothing in return. They weren't loyal to me. They didn't care about me. They just cared at the fact that I always gave to them. So they would take advantage of me constantly, always coming towards me only when they needed something from me. But whenever they didn't need anything from me, I didn't exist in nobody's life, and I was left alone. And I would cry to God, and I would tell God, what's wrong with me? Why are these people being so mean to me? What did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve this pain? And why was I given this pain? And why are people being so cruel to me? I don't understand what I did to deserve this type of pain. And I didn't quite understand why I went through so much rejection in my life. Middle school and high school year especially. Constant rejection from people. They didn't want anything to do with me. And they would always close their door on me and say, no, I don't want to be your friend, no. But I always had my arms wide open to accept people and to care about them. But when I was at my lowest point and I asked this girl that would constantly take advantage of me financially, I asked her just one simple favor. She said no to me, and she even laughed at the fact that she said no to me, and she walked away with so much happiness in her face at the fact that she said no to me while I was at my lowest suffering. And it just shocked me how horrible these people were towards me. I did not deserve to be put through all that they did to me. But now I understand, and now I see everything differently. It was God's protection, because God did not want me to be around those people. God hides your value from people that don't deserve you. He does it on purpose. He wants them to overlook you because he knows that you deserve better than these people and that you deserve people who actually are better quality. And God wanted you to see everyone for who they truly were. So he revealed every person to you. So that way you know which type of people you can trust and which type of people actually deserve to be near you and to feed off of your energy. So then that happened as a targeted individual. And then I continuously got laughed at and mocked in high school. Just people would take me as a joke. And I would tell them who I was, and they would still say that that's not who you are, and this is who you are, and this is how you should behave, and this is exactly who you're meant to be. And every time I always broke free from that box and from their opinions of me, they would get mad, and then I would be punished at the fact that I wasn't what they wanted me to be. They were so controlling over me. They were trying to make me something that I wasn't and tell me who I was and try to make me think the same way that they thought. So I went on in high school going through the fire and through a lot of challenges. But I will say this, there were in fact certain teachers who actually saw my value, and they would tell me, don't you ever change. There's something so beautiful about you. Don't you ever change who you are. I hope you still remain the same person that you are. And I always will remember those teachers who actually appreciated me, and they didn't reject me or they didn't mistreat me at all. And some of these teachers were religious. They were believers of God, and they saw something in me that I still wasn't able to see because people would gaslight me so much and manipulate me so much that I actually felt that I was the problem the whole entire time. So then I graduated high school, and I was finally able to break free from that prison, that hell that people put me through. It was literal hell. That's how it felt. It felt so toxic. It was the worst experience of my life, being in those 4 years in high school. And once I was able to get out of high school, I went on to college, and I started to meet a lot of better people who actually were caring, and people who actually were loving and were able to reciprocate back to me. So I went on with that experience, and there was once this girl that walked by, and that girl was in my high school. And I remember one time at lunch when I was alone, I went up to her and I told her, hey, can I hang out with you? She told me, ew, no, get away from me. Don't you dare get close to me. You can never hang out with me. And they would reject me and treat me as if I was a nothing, like a nobody. And it just was amazing how God flipped the script. When I went to college, I was with a whole group of people, and that person that rejected me walked straight across and turned around and looked me right in the eye. And I remember how she made me feel. And it just always sticks to me that you never truly forget how someone made you feel. And the rejection, it hurts a lot when people reject you, because all you want to do is love them and care for them. But they reject you, and they reject the love that you want to give to them. And they see you as a nobody, that you don't have anything for them. They overlook you. So then I went on to with that, and I still lived with the covert narcissist. And at the time, everything was going okay. I was just still suffering the emotional abuse, and it got to the point where I just broke down. I couldn't take it anymore, because after those 4 years of high school and then the whole abuse, it just all started to catch up to me, and I just broke down, and I didn't even recognize myself because of how much abuse I had experienced in my life. And I would look in the mirror and I wouldn't even be able to see myself for who I was. I was so depressed to the point where I didn't even care anymore about anything. I wouldn't even be able to get out of bed and make myself something to eat because of how emotionally exhausted I was and how depleted I felt for my energy and for myself. And so I finally was able to pack all my stuff, and I was ready to just leave that place because I couldn't take it anymore. I was being discarded by my narcissistic mother who no longer had any use of me. And that's the worst feeling ever, when the narcissist discards you. It's like you were never nothing to them. They just used you, and then they just throw you like a towel, and they don't want anything else to do with you. So I experienced that, and the narcissist just looking at me with just disdain and disgust because I had nothing else to offer the narcissist. And I finally packed my things and I left, and I had to go out and leave. But then I called the other narcissistic parent that I have, and I also knew that I didn't belong there because it was another emotional abusive roller coaster being there. And so I got out of there, and I was trying to find a way to escape that other narcissist. And once I was able to relocate myself to live independently, that's when I was all alone. Nobody was there to support me. My best friend ended up leaving me because I was starting to do better than her, and she felt jealous. And so she ended up leaving me at my lowest point in my life. And I had to face my pain alone by myself and heal through it. And so as I was healing everything, I went through my spiritual awakening. And I wanted to learn what was my purpose here on earth, and what was I sent here to do. And once you're able to wake up from the lies and the mental prison that people had you in, you recognize how powerful you are and how beautiful God has created you to be. And you recognize that the reason why you went through everything was because there was something divinely special and pure and just immaculate about you. And that's why you went through all those spiritual warfare battles, because the devil recognized from an early age that there was something extremely valuable about you. And that's why people tried to break you down and keep you down, because they didn't want you to recognize that power that you had within yourself. And once I went through that spiritual awakening, I was just so happy, and I was at peace. And you find this inner peace within yourself, and it's the most beautiful mental space you can be in. But then comes the gang stalking, when you finally are able to go through your spiritual awakening and you awaken. Now you have people recognizing that you are spiritually awakening. And now what they're going to do is they're going to keep an eye on you. And even your neighbors, the people that you live with, they're in onto your targeting too. They're part of trying to destroy you, that beautiful light within you. So you're going to have people in your community even joining in to break you down and to harass you and to keep an eye on you at all times, 24/7, and to listen onto what you're saying and carry out that information to other people who pay them for listening to you and to gathering information about you to carry out, so they can study you and figure you out and try to see how they can mentally and spiritually destroy you, because you're at a much higher spiritual energy than most people, and they recognize that, and they want to take that away from you. And that's why you get gang stalked. That's why you get stalked by a bunch of cars driving around, because they're all operating on very low energies, and you're at a very high energy. You're loving, you're caring, you're full of positivity, and they want to try to bring you down and to put you down from the level that you work so hard to get out of. So just recognize that being a targeted individual, it has to do with being chosen by God. Because if you weren't being targeted, there isn't a need for you to go through all this spiritual warfare to begin with. It's because you have something very valuable about yourself, and that's why they're coming after you. They wouldn't be coming after you if there was nothing there to begin with. It's like a diamond, no one can have it, and so they're all trying so hard to either take it away from you or to study you and trying to emulate you in a way and trying to take your power away from you. So this is all real, and a lot of us have gone through this at a very early age, and so we know what it means to be a chosen one. A chosen one doesn't have an easy life. They've gone through a lot of challenges, a lot of trauma, a lot of tough experiences in their life, but they still continue to be a good-spirited person, and they don't let life experiences turn them into something that they're not. They don't let life harden their soul, and they don't let life keep them from not loving anymore. No matter what we go through, in fact, we use all that pain to create something beautiful and to share it with the world, because we truly care about people and the world in it. So that's what makes us a chosen one. It's the fact that our spirit continues to shine regardless of how much darkness has been thrown onto us. And that's why every time we shine even brighter and brighter after every obstacle and after every challenge that we go through. So every time you're growing spiritually and you're trying to go into newer levels, you're going to get newer devils, newer people trying to attack you and come after you. This is all very real. And only spiritual individuals can understand what I'm saying, because many of them have gone through similar experiences as mine. So I really hope this video helps you guys understand that the reason why you're a targeted individual is because you're God's chosen ones. Because you're the light in this world of darkness. And the darkness is so attracted to you. And since there's so much darkness in the world, all of it is attracted to your light. And that's why so many people come after you. And they try to do all these manipulative games onto you and try to deplete you from your energy, because you have what they really want and what they want to become. And that's why life has not been easy for you. And that's why we have to protect our energy now and realize that some of these people are Decepticons, and they just come to deceive you and take from you and destroy your entire life. So be very observant and understand that you're powerful and that they fear you because you have finally awakened from the lies that they tried so hard to feed you with. And they tried so hard to make you believe something that you weren't. So also be aware as a targeted individual that when you go to restaurants, when you go places, since the people who live near you weren't able to destroy you, now their mission is to start to send people, agents, to watch you and to keep an eye on you and to study you. You're kind of like an experiment that they're trying to figure out, because they really want to try to take you down because of that spiritual light within you. They don't want it to exist, so they're going to try different manipulative tactics and different ways to try to dim your light. So be aware of that whenever you go to restaurants and you see someone who is just looking at you and studying you. This is very real. This spiritual realm is very real, and this is really what's going on. And they're going to try to make you let your guard down and ask you questions about yourself. Make sure that you don't give them personal information about you, because they're really trying to gather as much information as they can to plot something against you. So I really hope that this video helped, and please please be observant. Anyone who offers you something that's too good to be true, think about it and really see what's behind their actions and their behavior and their words, because people have hidden agendas and hidden motives against you. So be on the lookout, keep an eye on, they're studying you. You should also be able to see people for who they are, and don't trust too easily, especially during these times, because no matter what, they're still trying to study you. And that's why your neighbors go silent and they're very quiet when you come around, because they're trying to listen to what you're saying. They're trying to watch your every move so they can see when is the right time for them to try to attack you or to try to do something to you to break down your spirit. So protect that energy, protect your light, and continue to be strong. You're very strong. You're very powerful. Always remember that. You're a very powerful human being. And remember your power. Stand in your power. Stay in your power. You're in control. And make sure that your mind is filled with God's words and the truth. Don't be controlled by your feelings. Don't let people control your emotions. And continue to stay true. And God is the truth. So God is the one that defines you. Always remember that. Continue to be yourself, continue to stay true to who you are, and continue to share that beautiful light with the world. Bye.